Right then, evening all.
Right then. Carole told me off instantly because she said, "You happy with the computer?" And I said, "No, it's too far away. I can't read the writing." So we'll start off with a little adjustment.
So here's the thing:
you can see my lovely face a bit better.
So we've been sat here for about 20 minutes chatting to our special guest who's going to be with us very, very soon. And now he decides, just as I'm about to hit the live button, to mess around. Anyway, let's just say a quick hello to everyone that's in the comments. I see there's loads of people chatting to each other in the comments. So lovely to see everyone here. So Kevin's here from Calgary. Have you got a question for us? Please do put a question to start with. Obviously, we're here to answer any of your questions, but obviously Dan's here. So he'll be able to answer those questions for you too. Kevin's here as a yo from New York as well, saying hello to the other Kevin. Corinne's here from Surrey, of blustering wet. In Surrey, it's been awful here. In fact, we're hoping that it doesn't rain because the noise on our conservatory is deafening, isn't it?
Yes.
So very happy this week has booked another cruise with Dan. Excellent. So Stephen M's here. So saying hello to everyone. To everyone, and hi to Paul and Carole too. Anyway, I'm sure we'll go and say hello to everyone as we're going through all the comments. So without further ado, I think, should we get the main man on?
Yeah. Well, I'm already here, mate. Hey.
So here he is. So welcome, Dan, to our live stream.
Good evening. How are we all?
Good. So we'll just carry on going through the comments, Dan. As soon as we come across comments, we'll just start with any questions that pop up. So let's see here. So Greg and Kathy are here too, and Barbara's excited as well because she's so excited to go on a cruise Saturday to Hamburg, Rotterdam, and Zeebrugge. Can't wait to explore Iona. Yeah, she's a lovely ship, Iona, isn't she? Well, hopefully the staff have cheered up since we were last on there.
Hopefully the staff has cheered up and the weather is going to be in your favour.
Yes, definitely. Rhonda's here too, saying that Princess was surprised that I'd had a future cruise booked in pounds because Rhonda's obviously from the US, but has booked our group cruise with Dan. So that's great. And Rose is saying just double bonus having Dan joining Paul and Carole tonight. So that's very, very true. Kenga Cruises here as well. So let's go to the first question here that Mandy's asking. Looks like this one's for you, Paulie Morgan. Phil's brought the whole stock of Insta360, I think. Well, actually, Dan's got one too, haven't you, Dan?
Yeah, you can do this then, Dan.
But hasn't a clue how to use it. Where do you find tips for beginners, and did it take you long to become an okay beginner?
If you haven't got a clue, that makes three of us. To be fair, they're very not old school, as in you don't get an instruction manual, you get a little flimsiest of little tiny pamphlets, and then you can invest as much time as you want looking at, because when you put the app down onto your phone, there's lots of tutorials on there, which I've only had mine for about 9 months and I've never looked at a tutorial yet. I just bumble along like an idiot. One day, if I ever look at it, I might know how to do it. But it's actually quite straightforward once you get going.
What's your thoughts, Dan?
Exactly the same. You get a little pamphlet that you need a magnifying glass to actually read. And I haven't looked at one tutorial, but I just sort of mess around with it, press some buttons, and you get some decent videos out of it.
I guess there are some videos, sort of instructional videos on YouTube, I would guess.
But there is actually on the Insta app. So when you put the app onto your phone, every day, every time you go on there, it will show you stuff that people have done. It will show you, do you want to know how to do this? And there's a tutorial. But of course, because I'm a man, I'm not allowed to look at stuff like that. I have to figure it out for myself. It's like we're not allowed to ask directions. We just have to drive around aimlessly for about 4 days. And we can't do it. We can't ask directions because it shows we're weak.
Yeah, a good example of that is when we first got together, Paul said, let's go to, where was it?
Let's go to Longleat.
Let's go to Longleat. And then we passed the welcome to Devon sign. I'm like, are you sure you know where you're going? I know.
Longleat's in Somerset.
I know. But anyway, so let's have a look.
What a top boyfriend. Took her to Devon and to Longleat in the same day.
Oh dear, we got there in the end.
We did.
So Greg and Kathy's asking, has anyone done a helicopter ride at Oldham and is it worth the money? We haven't. Have you done that, Dan? No.
No, I look at the prices and no.
That's the thing with helicopter rides, isn't it? Because we looked at ones in Alaska, didn't we? not that I'm really good with heights, and I've been in once a helicopter once in St. Lucia, and I vowed never to do it again. So sorry, Greg and Kathy, we can't answer that, but maybe someone in the comments has. So, but Olden is one of our favourite ports in Norway, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic. What's the matter?
Nothing.
So Nick's here. So let's see Nick, and he's asking, do you have a place or country that's on your bucket list? I'd love to cruise around Australia, New Zealand. If you've been following us on Instagram, from time to time, maybe once a month, I will put on there, ask us a question. And we get lots of random questions, which is great. And one of them was, what's at the top of our bucket list? And I put exactly that, New Zealand and South Pacific. So would you concur?
I just go where I'm told, mate, you know me.
What about you, Dan? What's on the top of your
bags?
You don't, actually. What's yours, Dan?
New Zealand is up there, 100%, and the whole of Asia, which obviously I will be ticking off, thankfully, because I've not touched any of it. So any of Asia for me is on my bucket list anyway.
We're looking forward to being back in Asia, aren't we? In early of next year, February. Ken's asking, good evening to all three of you. If you compare Azamara and Oceania, what are the good and bad points of a cruise line? Well, we haven't done Oceania, and I don't know Dan has done Azamara.
I've not sailed. I've worked with them and had a couple of meals on board, but I've never sailed.
But you've done Oceania, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we start then for Azamara, the good points for us was food on Azamara was spectacular. Service around the ship, with the exception of the team that were on guest relations, was absolutely spot on, wasn't it?
It was.
The smallness of the ship, I quite liked it because everything was just very familiar, which I guess is the same as with Oceania. They're the similar sized ships, aren't they? So they hold about 700 passengers, would you say, Dan? Is that the same as Oceania?
The smaller ones, yes. And then you've got the three Marina, Riviera, and Vista that hold about 1,200.
Okay. And the other thing that's just jumped in my head about Azamara is they do a fantastic white night where they have a barbecue on the deck, and that's always amazing with fantastic entertainment. And they also had their Azamazing nights. With our cruise in December, they're calling it a destination experience night, something like that, isn't it?
I thought it was called a destination celebration.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think they do a lot of sort of destination immersion stuff, which is good. Downside for us with Azamara was we picked a route that was going through rough seas, and because it was a small ship, obviously we felt a lot of movement.
But that wasn't a downside with Azamara. That was downside with the
No,
route.
I think it was our choice of the ship in the area that we went. We didn't realise that the seas around Australia would be so rough. So I would definitely pick a bigger ship if I was doing that itinerary again. But lots of people have done it, and I've not had any issues. Your thoughts, Dan?
Ken will know, unfortunately, I rambled on at him over the weekend. He'll know my thoughts on Oceania.
Okay.
Based on my experience with them the other year, I think that their standards and their quality of produce, their food, etc., has gone down. And it seems that they've concentrated a lot more on the Vista, which a lot of cruise lines do nowadays. They put a lot more money into their newer ships, and sometimes their other ships get left behind a little bit. But Azamara it's interesting at the same time because there's still a lot of comments with the change of the ownership as to whether it's actually working properly. There are possible plans for Azamara to introduce a new ship at some point. Not sure when. It will probably be a new build as well, and not an old one.
Right.
So that could be a new market for them. But it's difficult. Azamara's food is incredible from the few meals I've had on board. Oceania before COVID was incredible. But then Azamara got some incredible deals for the start of next year. Some incredible prices compared to what you'd be looking at for Oceania at the moment. So it's kind of depend. I would go based on itinerary for those two.
Yeah.
If you had the choice.
Fab. So Philippa's here. So love to see Philippa. And Patrick and Francis are here. So it was nice to see you guys. Even all look forward to seeing Dan again, as well as PNC Obs. So let's see. So Sue's asking, Even to your question, have you got a best time of year to go cruising, or is that a stupid question to ask you too? There's never a stupid question, just for everyone in the comments, because some things that you think are a stupid question just is not. So just don't be frightened to ask us anything, and nobody will sort of make fun that it's a stupid question, because
I think there's a fair chance that I'll make fun if you ask
well,
a stupid
perhaps.
question, but that's just it. That's because I mean.
So from my point of view, it depends where you're cruising, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's the best time of year to go? Obviously, if you're looking at med stuff, you're going to get better weather in the summer. If you're looking at Caribbean stuff, then obviously the winter's the prime season. If you're looking at Asia, you're looking from December through to March, because that's their drier season. So it depends on where you want your cruise to go. Do you anything to add?
Totally, yeah. And if you're doing a British Isles cruise, just don't ever do it, because the weather's always going to be rubbish.
Any other tips there, Dan?
The only one I would say is if you're looking at the Med, so the Mediterranean, do consider looking at going March, April, and November, October. Though they're out of seasons, if you're not a big sun person, then look at those the start and end of season, because there's some decent pricing, and the weather is still comfortable and warm. It's just not going to be your crazy warm temperatures in July. So that's worth looking at. And it's the same with the Caribbean season, though a lot of ships now are doing full year in the Caribbean. So there are still some deals out there if you go outside of peak seasons. But it all depends where you want to go.
Yeah, exactly that. So Nick's saying, what made you use Dan to organise your holidays as opposed to booking direct? What are the benefits?
None whatsoever. The benefits, I saw a thing on Facebook earlier, and somebody was waxing lyrical about how wonderful Igloo cruises are, which really surprised me. The problem with booking with not with a travel agent,
with a travel agency,
is you'll never get to speak to the same person twice. The situation we had with Azamara, where we had a big hoo-ha, if it hadn't been for Dan, we would have been banging our head against a brick wall. Whereas if you were going with one of these, Igloo 118, whatever, and somebody's working out of their bedroom, you're never ever going to get the customer service that you're going to get out of the likes of Dan, because he's a top man and he'll make sure he looks after you.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Working with Dan and booking our cruises through Dan it's just such a personal experience, and you're dealing with the same person. With a travel agency, you don't often get that same person, as Paul said. And I think people get fixated on price. Now you say, well, if I book through Dan, it's going to cost me £1,000. If I book through Igloo, it's going to cost me 900 quid. I'm going to save 100 quid. But that's great when things go well. But when things go wrong, and that's how we found it, and we thought, oh my God, this is Dan to us is worth his weight in gold, because we know. Simple example: we got to Fort Lauderdale when we were going on Carnival celebration, and we got to reception at a hotel that we booked as part of that Dan had put together, and they had some issues with our booking, didn't they? So I straight away WhatsApped Dan and said, look, and he said, just give them this reference and show them that, and they oh yeah, okay, sorted. So within minutes, you've got someone at hand. Yeah. So I think that just so that's the benefits. Obviously, if you book direct, you may get a better price, but I'd rather pay that little bit more and go with Dan. And often Dan actually can match the price, and sometimes so. But if you want to say what the other benefits there are through booking through a travel agent, Dan? Oh, we can't hear you, Dan.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Strange. So the first thing is we will never be more expensive than booking direct. Never. We will always be the same, if not cheaper, if we can. It all depends if we're doing a package. So, for example, if we're doing a package, as I've done for a few people recently, where we do your flights, hotel, transfers, cruise, then most of the time you see the cruise fare that's online. We can get the flights included in the price for maybe £100-200 more than the cruise only fare you see online, because we have access to specific rates that you, as customers, don't have access to. All travel agencies, or majority, will be either ABTA or ATOL or protected in the background, which all cruise lines are as well. So you've got financial protection from everyone. and it's really just the little touches. Really, there's so many good travel agents out there. I won't just big myself up. There are tons out there, and if you find one, stick to them. Perfect example, and I know she won't mind me mentioning, is Tina with MSC booking through Igloo. They booked the wrong cruise, the wrong year. Don't quite know how that happens, and then they mess it all up, and then don't reply to when there's an issue. So it's, if you find one, keep them, respect them, look after them.
Yeah.
And they will look after you for sure.
Yeah, exactly that. So lots of other people are joining. So Alfie's here, so love to see Alfie.
Alfie.
And Andy and Carla are here, so love to see you guys. We're watching your C-Day vlog after this. Yes, our first vlog is out on Friday for the general public, but our patrons and YouTube members have all got that. So we'll hopefully you'll enjoy that. So let's have a look who else is here. Morris is here, so love to see Morris.
Hi, Morris.
And Boa Bonella's here too. So let's get to the next question. Oh, Kathy's here as well. Hey, Kathy, just got back from the Enchantment of the Seas, first RCI cruise. Not that impressed, sadly. No, I know we were talking about it, weren't we, on our Discord and our Patreon, that it wasn't as you had wanted it. Let's have a look. So let's go down to the next. Kevin said, yo, looking forward to seeing my birthday, buddy Dan. Oh.
Do you share a birthday, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. What did you think he meant?
Well, I don't know.
1st of November, so you can get my card ready, Paul. It's fine.
1st of November.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll write that down. So let's see. Travel with Lucy's here, and Google Claire's in the house.
Claire, what about that
and Tommy Gunn's in again. Oh, lovely to see you.
And talking about birthdays, it was Tom's my oldest nephew.
Yes.
And it was his birthday yesterday.
So,
48, I think he is.
He's not that old. Isn't he a bugger, Tommy? Oh, so many people saying hello, but hopefully we'll get back to you. Otherwise, we'll never get to the next question.
Yeah.
So
we've been on for 18 minutes, and Carole's just gone past the 7 o'clock threshold on the questions. That's how far she's behind.
Kevin's saying, with the news cruise booking, can we see the whip marks on Paul's back? Our patrons all know we've booked a very exciting cruise. I'm not going to say too much because obviously just with the patrons and members at the moment, but it's a new cruise line, new itinerary, taking a long time for Paul to get his head around it. So that's very exciting. But there's Tina that you were mentioning. Tina's here. So who had all the issues with Igloo. So let's see. So Colby's asking, hi, both just in Alaska and early May. Is it worth doing in summer? We did it in summer. We did it in July, and the weather was fantastic and it was lovely. I guess in early May you get more snow around. I mean, Kevin's in the chat, so he'll be able to give us a weather forecast. You haven't got any snow at the moment, though, Kevin, because he sent us a picture. There was a moose in his garden. So he sent us a picture, didn't he, the other day? So, but no snow yet. But yeah, I would go back in the summer. But if I did go back, because we've done summer, I would definitely go sort of maybe October, either early or late. So I would get that end
just to get a bit more snowy.
Just to get a bit more snow.
Not too much snowy, but a bit snowy.
So Jerry's just popped in as well. He said, I can't stay long, got the mother-in-law visit, so I'm off to the pub.
Well, I don't blame you. Can I come with you, Jerry?
And Trace is here just saying, good morning from New Zealand, 30 days from Quantum of the Sea to the South Pacific. See, that's where I'd love to go, South Pacific. Oh, I've got to put my fan on. I'm having a hottie. Woo. There we go. So evening all, Donna says, hi to the 2 main men and the one and only main lady. Oh, thank you. Dan is a bad influence. Another cruise booked. Excellent. So Spencer's asking Dan, hi Dan, what advice would you give to a solo cruiser making a booking? Have you seen some good deals, or do I need to win the lottery?
Some cruise lines you will need to win the lottery, being completely honest with you. However, the biggest news that I've seen recently is with NCL. NCL are to change around or just over 1,000 cabins on their fleet that are standard dual occupancy, but they're going to make them into solos. They're just going to sell them as solo cabins, so they'll be at a proper solo price. You'll have access to their solo lounge area. So NCL will be a good one to look out for starting January. I think that's when they change over. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's very difficult. Otherwise, there are some that will come through. Azamara, another one, are doing some great single rates for March, April, May next year. Sometimes solos, it's not great, but you have to wait. You sometimes have to just wait until a sailing's closer to sailing, and then they start to reduce the price for solos. I fully don't agree with solo price because I sell solo myself, but if it's somewhere you want to go, sometimes you just have to kind of just pay it.
And the bummer is with having to wait, like you said, is if there's other elements to your cruise, like a flight or a hotel stay or whatever, if you have to wait and wait and wait, and then by the time it gets to a price that might be agreeable, you could miss out on the other aspects as well. So it's definitely stacked against you. But like I said, you can't. With our group cruise, you've done everything you could to try and get some decent solo rates, but they're unfortunately, like most cruise lines, they're not having any of it, are they?
Well, exactly.
And Frank and Jen, who actually, I was chatting to them earlier, they're in, I wrote it down because it's Rockhound State Park in New Mexico in their camper van. And apparently, we were chatting on, I think it was Instagram or Facebook, and apparently it's tarantula mating season. Apparently there's lots of, I know. I was thinking, oh my God. What are you looking at? I hope they don't come across any sort of randy tarantulas. That will make their camping trip very interesting. But back to the question. Is it possible if they used to book a TUI cruise through you or even a P&O cruise?
P&O, yes. I have done a few US and Canadian customers. TUI's a little bit more difficult. I believe you can, if you look at Cruising Canucks, they've managed to do it from Canada. It's quite difficult for us, especially if we do it without the TUI flights from the UK, because it's just not worth it for us as agents, any agent in the UK. But if you're happy to fly into the UK and then use the TUI flight to fly to wherever you need to go, then yes. If it's a TUI cruise out of the US, then no. I'd very much look at the Cruising Canucks to see how they did it. And see.
Yeah, they booked direct, didn't they?
Yeah,
they booked direct, and it wasn't easy, but they did do it. So yeah, do check out that stuff. But P&O, obviously, Dan can sort that out for you. And Joe's just saying here, hi Paul and Caroline, hi Dan. If anyone hasn't booked Dan yet, do it. He's spot on. Oh, my dad used to always say that, didn't he? Spot on, Kaz. Yeah. So Paul's just asking, is it worth paying the extra on Princess that gives you gratuities, Wi-Fi, and drinks? For us, it is.
I think with the one thing I will say, I know Princess have recently put their prices up for their for that package, but I still think that package is by far the best value for money of any cruise line out there.
Yeah.
You think what are they, £50 a day now, is it, Dan?
Yeah.
And P&O were £45 a day just for the drinks.
Yeah. So when you add in the gratuities, which in most places are like $15 a day, plus your Wi-Fi,
I think that's good value.
Yeah.
To be fair, but it depends how much. Well, it doesn't really even depend on how much you drink. Because if you're drinking soft drinks, even soft drinks and coffees and what have you, I still think that represents good value for money. I do
definitely. So
there you are. It's very rare that we actually answer properly a question. We usually dither around and say, well, yes, you should book it. It's a good idea.
Reese is here. Reese, we met in Vancouver. So happiest time of the week with a live from PNC Plus bonus dance. So send a massive like. I'm pushing that button. Yeah, do give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the live. I want to say thanks to Reese and Catherine actually, because they sent us, when we were cruising back into Vancouver from Alaska, they were in a hotel right by Canada Place waiting to get on their cruise on Nordam to go to Alaska, and they took some fantastic pictures of the outside of the ship that they've allowed us to use in our vlog. So thank you for that, Reese and Catherine. That was very much appreciated. And you can just see me with my pink sweatshirt on the balcony, a little dot in the distance.
So on the thumbnail, Carole's pointing at our cabin, and she's actually stood on the balcony.
I think I've got this. Yeah, if you haven't seen our video that was out Friday, it's all about obviously our Neptune Suite. This is a picture, yes. can see me there, look. And there's me pointing. You can't see me pointing. So do go and check that out if you haven't. Dear.
Was that you pointing?
I
as well,
was.
was it?
Anyway.
She hasn't even been drinking.
No, I haven't. So I did let's just say I've lost my thread now. So Kathy's asking, off on Azamara next month, can I get a kettle in my cabin? I'm British, we need tea. We didn't have a kettle in our cabin. We couldn't get one, could we, on Azamara Quest?
Was it Azamara? No, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, which obviously, she wouldn't break the habit. She wouldn't break the habit of a lifetime. There was one cruise line we were on, and I said, do you think we could get a kettle in our room? And they said no. It sounds like it was Azamara because they were so friendly on reception. And I said, I should have bought my own then. Well, if you had, we'd have taken it off you. Because
I don't think that was on Azamara. I think
what cruise line was that on? But they said if we bought one, they would have taken it off us.
Don't know. I'm sure we didn't. I'm sure.
Who was it? Ian, Magic of Ian Shaw, who's a magician. We met. He did a video in our cabin of doing some magic and stuff. So if you haven't seen that, check it out.
Yeah,
but we went out for the day with him when we went up to the Peak District, and he's got this fantastic thing which looks like, like the cruise cups they give you. Cruise cups they give you. It looks exactly like that, but it's a kettle.
Yes.
And he said it's just genius.
Yeah.
Because it'll only do like that cupful, obviously, because that's how big it is. But he said it don't take very long, and they never query it because it just looks like a metal cup.
I think the best request we had when we asked, we were in a hotel in Las Vegas, and we asked for a kettle. And they said, okay, well, we think we've run out of kettles. We got back to our room after exploring Las Vegas, and they had a saucepan because we had this little kitchenette. We had a saucepan. We thought, that's right. And they had a spoon in it. We thought, okay. But then we picked up the spoon, and it was a slotted spoon.
The spoon with holes in.
A spoon with holes in. But anyway, so that might be a good idea, Kathy. Ask Andrea in Discord, because she'll be able to tell you where to get that special cup. So Kathy Webb's here. So let's see, Kathy. Hello, everyone. Just big thank you to Paul and Carole for recommending Annie. He's put me on some excellent cruises this past week. So brilliant. So Nigel saying they're on Morella in December. Hope we will enjoy. I'm sure you will, Nigel. Just great fun. It's just a very chilled cruise line that's got some fantastic entertainment. So let's have a look. And Nick's just saying, just want to say, Dan, even though we've not booked the group cruise, you're helping with John and Isis is much appreciated. So that's good too.
You wait till you meet him in real life, though, if you think he's nice on the phone. I'll tell you, that's a different thing altogether.
We're on QM2 on 6 in the know, which we think is the first sailing after refit. Oh, fab. Ooh. How do we find out about theme nights, please? So you just need to go to your Cunard planner. So you book into your account on Cunard, and about 2 weeks before, you go to your calendar. And in that calendar, it will be populated with what nights will be on. So just make sure you do that. If you need help, just give us a shout and we'll point you in the right direction. That's right, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, exactly that.
That's what we do.
But unless they change things up, there's red and gold. There's
20s.
Roaring 20s. And there's
black and white, and masquerade. Yeah. So it'll be one of four. Yeah, it'll be one of those four.
And the masquerade, you can just wear whatever you would normally wear anyway.
Yeah, but
they do sell on the ship the masquerade masks, and to be fair, they were starting
$15, weren't they?
But yeah, some of them were under a tenner. Going up to spend as much as you want. But yeah, so
we've now got our dress up Cunard box, haven't we, upstairs?
Yeah, it's just like a child. It's like a child's bedroom.
Claire saying, "You're lucky I've got there, considering Longleat's in Wiltshire." Exactly. Well, I knew that's man's direction at no map. I knew it was
Somerset, which is close. I mean, Kenna gave me a pass on that. Somerset, Wiltshire, it's all very close together. They all speak a bit like me, a bit ooh-ary.
Janet's just saying, look, we always end up talking about Angel Delight on our lives. She's now saying you can get butterscotch Angel Delight ice cream.
Well, when somebody was on about the Angel Delight ice cream, I'm very confused by this. Now, surely, is it Angel's Delight is Angel's Delight? Is it just frozen Angel's Delight? Or is it ice cream? Because if it's just ice cream, it's not Angel Delight ice cream, is it? They've just called it Angel Delight ice cream. So I demand to know: is it frozen Angel's Delight, or is it just ice cream
We
that
need to
they?
go and buy some and find it.
Oh yeah, because that's going to work well for me diet, isn't it?
Well, no, not really. Paul's lost £20 now.
£20.
£20. I've
And
lost
funny enough,
11.
I lost £20, and a few days ago, due to nagging from the other two people on the screen, I lost a lot of other pounds.
By booking another cruise. Nothing personal, just asking. I've kind of put him halfway between Jasper and Edmonton. You were recently in my backyard. When your travel company responded to the issue encountered in Jasper? For those that don't know, the hotel we stayed with Jasper, we had some issues with them. With Titan Travel, we had a do downstairs in the hotel, and they wouldn't allow you to take drinks up and down. And it was really, the manager was not very helpful. And also there was a big mess up with breakfast for a lot of the guests. This is all being fed back to Titan. So hopefully they'll consider using that hotel in the future. But we'll see, isn't it? That was the Crimson Hotel.
It certainly wasn't. I think that there were so many fantastic elements. The two bad elements was the Air Canada flights, which truly sucked. They were awful. They were like
Titan,
a long.
That's who they partner with, so I don't think that will change.
They were like a long haul version. Well, they were worse. Like, I don't even want to say EasyJet. I think they were worse than EasyJet.
Well, not from a comfort point of view. It's the service.
No, I'm on about the service. At least on EasyJet, you get some decent service. The service was bad. The food was really bad. It's definitely the worst food we've ever had on a flight, and it's the worst service. And then the hotel, and it was only just that one element. The room we stayed in.
The rest of it was excellent.
Yeah, the rest of it was fantastic.
Maybe it was just the manager that was on that day. You don't know, do you? You just don't know what the circumstances.
I think it was his time of the month, I think.
Paulie Morgan, you can't say things like that.
I just did.
Damn, what are we going to do with him?
Just saying.
Anyway, let's go move on.
Moving swiftly on.
Which cruise line would you recommend for the Caribbean and what time of year? Over to you, Dan.
You're going to be shocked at the two that I'm going to recommend. Mainly because they take you straight into the heart of the Caribbean, and that would be P&O or MSC. If you're not looking to do the Caribbean year after year, which a lot of people will do, a 7, 10, 12, 14 night cruise around the Caribbean, then look at doing a 7 or 12 night with P&O or MSC, because they will start in Bridgetown and then you will do all the little islands around it. Whereas if you start in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, you will have a minimum of 1 to 2 nights at sea. So if you're doing a 7-night itinerary, you're only going to see 2 to 3 ports, which if you're only doing that short, it's a long way to go just for that. Though, yes, otherwise I'd recommend Princess and Celebrity as 2 good options because their itineraries are very good. But if you want to see more of the Caribbean, then look at MSC and P&O, really.
That's a good point. Because you fly directly to Barbados, don't you, or Antigua? They home port actually right in there. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because if you're flying all that way, like you said, for 2/3 ports, it then makes it more about the ship than the destination, doesn't it, really?
Yeah. So let's see the next question we've got. Nick's asking, do you think Celebrity Cruises are worth a premium in cost versus other cruise lines? Looking at future cruiser ships such as Iona offer the same itinerary for a lot less.
What I will say is I think Celebrity, especially like the Beyond and ships like that, they are a far, in my humble opinion, is a far better ship. We haven't done Arvia, but Arvia is supposed to be very, very similar to Iona. Well, if we're doing a comparison between like the Celebrity Beyond and the Iona, the Celebrity Beyond just blows the Iona out of the water. It's a far, far better ship, right across the board, to be fair. But
Iona's still fantastic.
Oh, it is a fantastic ship. But if you put them side by side,
I would pick Beyond.
Everywhere I went on the Beyond, it just had a wow factor everywhere.
It is.
Whereas the Iona, yes, is fabulous, and I would go on there again, and they do some good deals. They do some good deals, and I said do. But it depends on how much difference there is in price.
And because I've been looking at Apex, because that looks like it's coming to the UK, isn't it? And it's crazy prices. Yeah. So I would love to do another Edge class ship. What's your thoughts, Dan?
I'm pretty much the same. If I wasn't looking at price, I would choose Celebrity every day of the week over P&O. You know that anyway. But the prices for Apex out of Southampton for next year are extortionate for what it is at times when you compare. Perfect example, I know it's not until 2025, but the new sailings that went on with P&O, a 14 night on Iona to the Med at £800 per person for an inside. Compare that to Celebrity, it's
Yeah.
day.
I mean, that's just a bonkersly good price, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And that's why we looked at. I think it was last Christmas, and Arvia, which obviously you just almost like segueing nicely into it. Caribbean, in the Caribbean on Arvia, they were doing the deals were like ridiculously cheap. You looked at it and think, well, that can't include the flights, can it? It's like, no, it does.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Exactly. If you are considering or you want to get just contact Dan and get a quote for any cruise, Kevin has kindly put up, we've got a booking form on our website. Just go to our booking page and fill in those details and Dan will get back to you. And Dan, I'm not just saying this because he's here, but Dan is, sometimes we're having issues with prior to using Dan of having to wait, and I'm so impatient. I want to, if I ask a question, I like to get the answer, and Dan will be on it. And it's just so if you do want to got something in your mind, not just want to ask him a question or just touch base with him, then please do that. I said do as well. So how childish are we? So Julie Seymour saying, we are booked on Emerald Princess September 2025, leaving England and going to Iceland. Do you think there's a chance of seeing the Northern Lights? It depends on, Iceland. We've not been there, but I guess you're that north. I guess there is a pretty good chance, isn't there? Would you say, Dan?
Yeah, so Princess normally do their In Search of the Northern Lights towards the end of September, because then obviously they go over to the Caribbean. But yes, so there has been, especially on some of the P&O ships in the end of August, there's still been sightings in Norway. So yes, you do have a chance. The peak season is October to March. But yes, if you're going on the sailing that I think you are going, which will be towards the end of September, then yes, you have quite a high chance of seeing it.
Excellent.
Tina's asking, Dan, when you're putting together a cruise package, do you ever think, wow, that's a really clever, great combination? Then want to do that cruise yourself?
Yes, and then I book it. Perfect example is the Asia one, to be completely honest. It's the one that I've booked has just worked out perfectly. But you do some like the one that Paul and Carole did for the Caribbean. You take the Carnival cruise going out of Miami, and then the Holland America cruise departing on the same day out of Fort Lauderdale. They're just, for me, packaging is so much more interesting, because it's just taking a cruise or a flight and putting them together to create a proper holiday. Great fun, really.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle, isn't it? Yeah. That was a fab, wasn't it? That worked so well. That was brilliant. Wonderful, So Barbara's just saying, good evening, everyone. Just booked my second Cunard cruise, not going on my first one until February. Brilliant. And Ken saying, I can confirm it's easy to try and book the cruise in the wrong year. Remember last week, Dan, with QV? So Raymond's just saying, I just want to thank Dan for his understanding when we had a medical problem. We will never think of using anyone else. Oh, that's lovely. Robert's here from Guernsey. So hi there, Rob. Evening, guys. Hope you're all well. New cruise line, Disney? No.
Disney would have to vastly reduce their. I would never say never about anything.
Yeah.
But the prices of a Disney cruise, well, actually, with all the prices increasing almost by the day on cruises, maybe Disney will be value for money soon. But certainly what they're charging at the minute, I couldn't bring myself to do it, to be honest.
I would like to try them, but like you say, for the prices, we just can't justify it at the moment, can we? But like you say never. Kevin saying it's beautiful in Canada. Look, Calgary, it's 22 degrees and sunny. And Catherine's saying that she did Alaska September twice and had totally different weather. Yeah, you just never know, do you? And Karen's saying May in Alaska, lots of snow in the mountains, not much on lower ground. Weather can be hit and miss. Yeah, exactly. Corinne's saying is chatting with PNC and on Discord. There's a bad influence and encourage more cruises. Oh dear. Talking about, you said about NCR, didn't you, for solo? So Life in the Park saying exactly the same. So that's brilliant. Millie's asking a question, which I think you may have answered that earlier, but just to reassure them, Dan, if you go with an independent travel agent like Dan and you put a package together such as flights, transfer, cruise, you're still covered by ATOL and APTA.
Yeah, so I would always check with them if you look on a specific website or just ask them. So for us as an agency, we're both APTA and ATOL. There will be agencies out there that don't have APTA, but they will have ATOL. There'll be some that have ATOL that don't have APTA, but they will have other financial protections behind them. APTA and ATOL are the ones that are most well known because most big cruise lines and airlines use them, but there are other ways around it, a bit like Ambassador, for example. They run it slightly differently as well, but yes, you're very much covered the exact same as if you book it through the cruise line. The only thing is if you do it through an agent, you may have a little bit more wiggle room with sorting things out with flight prices and transfers and stuff like that.
Just see the Innocents Abroad just said, "A million apologies for being tardy. Bob's late."
Wow.
I don't know.
It's very disappointing, Bob.
Oh, right. Let's get back to, where was it? I seen something about Lisa was asking Dan, do you highlight top not to miss deals for your clients?
At the moment, I don't as much as I would want to. If I've got a list sitting next to me of people that I've spoken to and what they want to do, and if I see something, I will let them know. One thing I'm working on with Paul and Carole is that we're going to start doing something maybe either weekly or bi-weekly where I will find an offer that I think is pretty amazing and we will put it out on their socials. At the moment, things are quite busy, so I don't have enough time to sort of put some stuff out myself. But if you've got any sort of idea of where you want to go, roughly when, then I can keep an eye out. But I don't like to bombard people with loads of emails, which I could do because it's just not what I want to do, really. I'll always listen, and see if I see something, I'll always ping it over to whoever needs it.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, because we were just talking about that yesterday, weren't we, Dan? Because there are deals that come up. We could just pop that on Facebook just so people are aware of that, or on Instagram, etc. But also what I want to include as well, we do a monthly newsletter, which went out yesterday, or today, I think, this morning. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, then make sure you go to our website and just sign up for our newsletter, because it would be good that we can then start putting some deals in our newsletter. So that just if we do come across anything, then we can pop it in there too. So let's see. So there was a question about, John was asking about Jamaica. Is Jamaica a safe port? We've heard some horror stories about the cruise port. We haven't been there for years, have we? We went there probably in 2019. We did on a Cuba cruise. We just went to a beach, and a big group of us just got into a big minibus, paid. We didn't get ripped off or anything, and went to a beach, didn't we? Spent the day at the beach and came back. So we didn't find anything, but that was quite a few years ago. I don't know if you've heard anything since, Dan.
I've not heard anything. I hear mixed on it. Some people have great experiences, some don't. I know there's a lot of things politically to do with things at the moment. I haven't heard anything recently.
Rob's saying, solo traveling here, I always find P&O quite reasonable with most of their prices. Don't get me started on Princess. Only cruises which do seem to be about 80% solo rate with PO is fly cruises. Yeah, so they are out there, but it's just it is unfortunate for solo travelers. Right, Susan's here, so she's off on the NCL breakaway in February. New Orleans, that is somewhere we'd love to go to as well, isn't it? And Corin's just saying, Dan managed to get Gratz drinks and Wi-Fi on Celebrity next year for £50 a day.
Nice.
So there you go. Paul's asking, Dan, do you know why NCL have so few cruises from Southampton?
Short answer, no. Have I been banging on at our account manager for the last 2 to 3 years as to why? Yes. Because I'm honestly sick with NCL of sending us their old ships, getting the Star, the Dawn, and I'm sorry, when you compete NCL products to P&O's new Iona or Avia, people are going to go to P&O rather than NCL. Yes, we've got the Prima that does the one-ways from Southampton to Iceland, but for people that don't want to fly, it doesn't work. It's very disappointing, but they are starting to bring, obviously, the breakaway, getaway, etc. That class of ship are coming in. But I also find some of their itineraries a little bit boring at times, to be frank. And they're always quite long. You generally find a 9 to 12 to 15 night cruise. You don't tend to get just week cruises with NCL out of Southampton. I'm hopeful that they'll change, but unfortunately, I can tell them as much, but they don't really listen to me on my own.
Cruising Gates, how many times on cruise do you hit the daily drinks limit? I don't think we ever have we?
I don't think we ever have. No.
You know, we do like a drink, but you wouldn't, Dan, would you? Because you're not a big drinker at all.
I think first, if you don't do it on the first night,
it's unlikely
I don't think you're ever going to do it when you get to our age, anyway.
And Catherine's saying, even agree with the Princess Pack. My friend doesn't drink, but she's smooth as a mocktail, so still worked out good value. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly that. Oh, NCL confiscated Paul's kettle. Oh. And Susan's just asking, have they got facilities in the cabins? But I guess not. And they take your kettles away. Right, let's have a look. Colin's on Voyager in 3 weeks. So have a fab time, Colin. First Caribbean cruise. That is exciting. So Morris is asking, question for Dan. Have you heard of any cruise cancellations due to the situation in Gaza?
Not cancellations. I myself was supposed to be in Israel in November on Princess. No cruise lines have cancelled anything. They're just changing the ports. So mine, instead of Haifa and Ashdod, we're going to Santorini and Crete. Fortunately, can't do anything about it. It is, a lot of them are either adding a stop in Cyprus or adding a spot in Alexandria in Egypt. But as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any cancellations. They're just changing the ports.
Yeah. That's not bad ports to go to. There's Crete and Santorini. They're two of my favourite places.
Depends how you've booked the itinerary. We booked it for Israel. So for us, it's like...
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very true. Diane's just basically saying the same thing, a bit concerned given recent. So hopefully that's answered your question, Dan, that your it'll be changed but not cancelled. So let's have a look. Kevin said, woohoo, £20 is great. It is. So yeah, everyone's saying well done. I've lost 11, but that's not as much, is it? But we're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah, no,
we're really getting there, so that's good.
Really pleased. I'm starting to wear clothes I haven't worn for a long time.
Yeah, on behalf of Canada, we apologise for it, Canada.
And so you should.
Ken saying he loses £20 every time he goes to the pub. Oh dear. So let's see. Yeah, so Kate Speedling is asking, following up on TUI fly cruise US, are you saying we could fly into any of the UK airports on, say, American Delta, and then the TUI part of the travel would kick in?
Kind of. It would be booked. It would be booked differently. So your international flight from the US to the UK would be done as a separate entity or a separate element on a package. And then the TUI cruise would be booked with the cruise and the flight together, and then we would add on the international flight at either end. So it wouldn't kick in. You'd still have to come out of the airport and go back in and recheck in for the TUI flight. But there are ways around it that you could look at.
Okay. Claire's saying, hi, we're going on Harvey 2 weeks from Barbados early January. That is exciting, Claire, isn't it? Lovely. Bit of warmth and a bit of winter sun. I think that's what we all want. And winter's coming in the UK. The Aussies are happy, though, because they're just coming out of winter, aren't they? And they're going into their summer. Let's have a look. Bob saying apples to apples, though, P&O and Celebrity are completely different products. They are. Will's late. Will, I hope you're all doing great.
Wow.
John's just said he's just come back from a week on Mallorca from my birthday to Cas at Palma Airport. Really rude and angry, grown stuff, sugar stuff. Tiny bins for your stuff to go through scanners cruising. Oh, yeah, airports can be. That's why it's so lovely cruising, isn't it? When you can just, I know we don't always get the weather in the UK, but just driving down to Southampton and walking onto a cruise ship just takes all that hassle of air, all that stress. Janet saying, going on America, College Dan, but with Dan, and recommended by you too. We'll be able to get a kettle on board. We had a coffee machine, didn't we, on ours? So
I can't remember what we had
on New Amsterdam.
But I think the fact that you can have a coffee machine in there, I would imagine maybe take a travel kettle and see what they say, or because I don't know whether they can provide you with one, but you depending on your cabin class, you'll definitely get a coffee machine, so they're not adverse to having machines that warm water up.
No, and on Celebrity Beyond, we went to that was who we asked for a kettle. On Celebrity Beyond, we went to them, and at first they were like, "Oh, don't know," and within hours, a kettle arrived in our cabin. So that was Celebrity. So it's if you don't get it, it's worth the ask. And Nick saying right then, looking forward to seeing you both on Tuesday. Yeah, we've been doing a series of Patreon and members meetups, as you'll have seen if you follow us on the social. So we're meeting up with Nick, who's coming our way, actually, visiting family.
Well, how could we refuse? Nick said, I'm going to take you out, slap up meal, all you can drink, and put you in a taxi home. I thought, well, we can't turn that down, can we?
Oh, no. So Ken's saying, this is what I love about cruising, what I love about people's choices, because everyone's so different, aren't they? I prefer Prince over Celebrity. I find Celebrity still a little bit strange, but can't explain why. And I think there is a cruise ship out there for everyone. But just if you think, because obviously Ken and Lindsay, we get on well, we've got sort of the same mentality. You think we probably enjoy the same things, but you just don't know, do you? You just don't know. Did you
say that we're all mental then?
Well, I think we all are a bit mental. Oh, Richard's here. So love to see you, Richard. He said, I totally agree. Dan's fantastic answer to the question you may have, and replies really quick. He does. Kevin just put there's an Aurora forecast that you can check if you're cruising. Oh, thanks, Kevin, because I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Of course I did. Kevin told me.
Oh.
He WhatsApped me just before he put the question thing on there.
So Danny O'Neill says, so I love to see you, Danny. Has your book of business increased now that travellers realise how important a travel agent is, especially like of the past 3 years? For us, it is Azamara and all their IT issues.
Yes. Business for us has been the best it has been in the 23 plus years we've been going. Especially with Azamara, they're obviously switching for ownership. They've switched from different systems, but it's also the same for us. They've switched from a system that worked so well to a system that is rubbish now, and so we're still getting used to that. But obviously, from a customer side point, their website is poor as well. So we basically just deal with the poor website, so you don't have to. But yes, business has for us, especially, people are starting to realise that having that point of contact or a singular person or two people at max makes a big difference.
Yeah. Nick's asking, we've been sell twice on Beyond. Have we been spoilt? We love Beyond, but then some people, been on that said it's not their ship for them. But I think Nick, Beyond is a beautiful ship, absolutely stunning ship.
It's definitely a warm weather ship, but I just imagine that's all the itineraries it does. Anyway,
yeah,
but
the only thing, like we said, with the cabin wasn't our thing, but Dan told us not to book that, and we said, well, we're not going to listen to you, Dan. We'll book it anyway.
Yeah, we
got burnt that way. But definitely, if I was going to go, I would quite happily, if I could get on Beyond, I would quite happily go on an inside cabin, because we loved the ship that much, didn't we?
Fabulous, yeah.
And so much fabulous outside space. So that was great. Kelly and Doug saying not long till their first cruise with Morella. And John saying we're doing a back-to-back cruise on Reflecting on Christmas. We're so excited. Back-to-backs are amazing, because when everyone's getting off, you're like, woohoo, bye, we're staying on.
It's a bit mean, isn't it?
Well, it is a bit mean, but how often do you get to say that?
I can't believe the glee on your face.
I know, but it's such a lovely feeling, isn't it, knowing that your cruise isn't over.
Other people's misery.
And Kazi UK saying, the amazing Dan, the best. We agree. So let's have a look Kelly and Doug are just saying it's sounds like Dan knows his stuff. It's always good to get an independent travel agent's views. Exactly that.
It sounds like he knows his stuff. Yeah.
It's all waffle.
No.
Me and Dan have both got a sales background, so we can both talk the talk, but Dan walks the walk as well. He definitely knows what he's doing.
So, Bob, I think we're talking about the ports in Jamaica, isn't it? Saying Ochos Rios is fine. Never any problems there. Montego Bay is the best consistent rep. Yeah. Ochos Rios is when I worked as a nurse on celebrity cruises going back in the 1990s. I had to go on an excursion and I had to escort all the passengers up them blimmin' falls, what they call Duns River Falls. So every 2 weeks I had to go on that excursion and walk up the falls with them just in case someone fell over.
And did
so no, only me. No. Oh,
is there a nurse anywhere? Yeah, hurt my knee. Yeah, you're the nurse.
Oh. So Linda, Boone says, love to see you, Linda. I discovered you when you took your river cruise. I'm leaving for a cruise from Amsterdam Basel on Saturday. Thanks for the inspiration. You're welcome. River cruising is amazing. We're sort of tentatively planning one for the next year. It's the plan's like one of Dan's puzzles is coming together, isn't it, Dan? So so hopefully we'll be able to tell you more about that later on. And Life on the Parks have just been on, epic. And he said they had the same conversation at their meeting with NCL regarding the age of ships and duration at Southampton. Sadly, I don't think they really understood it. Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because it would be really good to get, and with Royal Caribbean, isn't it? Let's get a big, let's get one of the Oasis class ships here. We've had Anthem, haven't we?
And then didn't you say, Dan, that Independence is coming back?
It looks that way. Yeah.
And that did about 5 years on the trot, didn't it, out of Southampton?
Pretty much. I will say that Carole, I think I hear it from Carole once a month that Royal need to bring an Oasis class.
I know. I'm desperate to get on a really, really big ship. I think I'll probably get off there and think, thank God I've done it. I don't want to do that again. But I really want to try one of the Oasis. So I'd love to get on Icon of the Seas or something like that.
The problem is, Carole, and it's the same with the MSC ships, like the Seaside, the Sea View, is that going out of Southampton in August, September, when we've got pissing down rain, when it's an open ship,
language,
perfect, isn't it?
Naughty Dan! I'll just smack your legs when we see you next.
So you said it's persistently raining, yeah?
Yeah, you did.
Exactly, yes.
And Ken goes cruising. That's a good point. Don't you remember in Enchanted Princess when you told me that you'd run out of drinks? Maybe I'd gone to bed that night. Because you used to stay out with Ken and Lindsay quite late.
What do you mean used to? I stayed out once with them. And you say used to, but it was till about 3 a.m, so I was entitled. I was nearly on the next day's drinks.
David's just saying, good evening, my lovelies. What does Dan think about the tax on drinks packages for Spain?
So this one, I'll be completely honest, I don't fully understand, because the only cruise line it seems to affect is NCL. And I cannot for the life of me work out what's going on. A bit like their issue with Southampton as well. There was some issues a couple of months ago. I've been in Barcelona with a drinks package and have never been charged tax on any drink that I've had. So I don't quite know if they've changed it. I'm not sure. But I don't quite know how they can charge you tax on a drinks package where you've prepaid it, so you're actually not buying anything. You're just getting a drink that is included in your package. So they shouldn't charge you on a drink package, but they would charge you if you to pay for a drink. So don't quite get it.
Yeah, we had exactly the same.
But that was on Cunard, wasn't it? And we were paying as we went.
No. We had exactly the same on Carnival, where we prepaid the drinks package and prepaid the gratuities on the drinks package. And then we were in certain ports, I think it was American ports, and we got charged tax on all the drinks. And the best one we had was we did Virgin out of Portsmouth, and we didn't have a drinks package. And then the next day we checked our bill, and there was a load of tax amounts on top of the drinks. So I went to reception and they said, oh yeah, because we stayed in port an extra night, we've had to pay tax on all the drinks. And I said, well, please don't take this the wrong way. I don't remember me coming up to you and saying, can we stay in Portsmouth an extra night rather than go on our cruise?
It
Well,
was
no,
because ABC were
it was
on there.
it was
and they-
ABC performed on there, and they couldn't get their kit off on time.
yeah.
So they stayed the next. So we missed out on a night, an extra day at sea, and then they tried charging us tax for the fact that we'd sailed a day late. And I said, obviously, you will be removing those, won't you? And they said, of course we will, sir. But I wonder how many people. Well, everybody else on the ship would have got stung by it. But I thought, how much of a cheek that you've set sail a day late and you want to charge me for the privilege?
Yes. Nick's just saying, am I right in thinking there'll be another group cruise in the future? Or have I had too much Thatcher's Gold? Yes,
well,
there will be.
firstly, you can never have too much Thatcher's Gold.
Yes, there will be. We've got obviously the one in 2025 May, which is all on our website. So anyone that wants to know more about that, please go and check it out.
Dan's hair is already turning the colour of mine.
Great.
At the
But
thought of
we're
another group
doing,
cruise.
hopefully in 26, we're going to do a Patreon and members only cruise, and we're going to do another group cruise. So, yes. Kaz is saying, I usually travel on Cunard. I'm a bit shy ambassador when I notice a huge difference.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
I've never been on Ambassador, but I've seen some pictures, and yes, if you want a telly that works, some Wi-Fi, some air conditioning, and decorations that don't look like Wimbledon Fortnite, you're definitely going to notice a difference.
But Ambassador use not Ted, the other one that Morella used to use. What's the entertainment's team? Fabulous.
Peel Talent.
Peel Talent. The entertainment's supposed to be absolutely exceptional. So,
but as is on Cunard, we like.
I bet Ambassador might even, with the theatre shows, that might even beat Cunard.
Well,
but from an elegance point of view and a classy ship, I think probably Cunard wins. Oh, let's have a look. Frank and Jen are just saying we have 40 days until our 10-night Southern Caribbean on Celebrity Equinox. It's been some months since we cruised. Can hardly wait. Hopefully you haven't seen any tarantulas yet either.
Well, they're still typing away, so unless they're led on the floor as we speak, being wrapped up in a big web like
Harry Potter.
No, it was what's his face, wasn't it?
Harry Potter.
No, it was Frodo.
Oh no, yes, it's Lord of the Rings.
Frodo Baggins.
That's our two go-to films at the moment. We're either watching Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. Oh. Right, let's have a look. So let's Lynn says she loved our train trip through the Canadian Rockies. You did a terrific job. Oh, thank you. That was amazing. We got a video on our website for those of you who don't know about the Rocky Mountaineer. If you're ever considering treating yourself to a one-off special event, that was absolutely phenomenal, wasn't it, Paulie? Yeah. It just makes me goosey just thinking about it. I definitely would love to do it again, though. Yeah, Bob's saying Azamara new website sucks. Let's that be clear. So... And Fran and Jen said, we just end up cancelling our June 2 then on Voyage of the Seas to Israel and move to a Western Mediterranean next May at Barcelona. Never been, so it's going to be fun. Yeah. Spencer, you're really impressed with your water drinking. Do you know, it's taken me years to get Paul to drink water because we've been doing this sort of intermittent fasting. So we're only starting eating at 12 and finishing about 5 or 6. And then it's just water. You're like a fish, don't you, Paulie?
What Carole doesn't know is this is actually gin. I decant a pint before the lives. No, to be fair, every time I have a drink of water is because I want to eat some cheese or something. So that stops you from doing it.
Nick's asking, if you're cruising to New York, is there a better side to have a balcony for the views? No, we cruised out of New York on Cunard, and we were actually in Brooklyn. So actually, the side of the ship that you wanted to be on to see the New York and the Statue of Liberty was the right-hand side, the starboard. Now, if you were coming in on like NCL and Morella, they actually go up the Hudson River, don't they, and dock at Pier 88. So my thoughts would, I would still book a starboard cabin because when you come in, you'll be going up the Hudson and New York will be on your right. If you're going out, it'll be on your left. It'll be on the port side. So, but then the Statue of Liberty will be on the right. So the best thing is to do, get up at the top of the ship so you can see both ways.
Stand at the back like we did.
Yeah, we stood at the back for our sail away, and then we went right up to the top to go under the Varanazzo Bridge, is it called? Oh. Kevin will be able to tell us. Verrazano, and that was really good because it gets really close, doesn't it? And Don's finally made it to a live chat. Well, thank you for joining us. Alfie said that they're on Norwegian Star at Southampton late next year. Oh, so you have to let us know Tina says, "See, look, people have picked up. You're in trouble."
Very
That's it.
very technical term. That.
Oh,
We're for saying persistently raining.
Yeah.
We're going to be on a YouTube ban now, aren't we?
and Mandy said we did a Dungeons and Fours and bought the DVD. Got it home with some random women doing their trip. Oh dear.
Carole wasn't on there, was she? Falling over, dressed as a nurse.
No. Yeah, Kevin just put our group, Chrissy. Kevin's on the ball, isn't he? So let's see what other questions we got. Because where the times are ticking, isn't it?
Yeah,
So we got any other? Yeah, Kevin's there. Look, Verrazano Narrows Bridge. Thank you so much. And Frank and Jen are saying no transfers left. I keep watching. So a couple of questions left by the looks of it. So
what Frank and Jen hasn't told you is they're dressed in like beekeeper outfits.
So
they're all like fully in case there is any tarantulas, and they're going to sleep in them tonight.
So Gorby Flat 5 is thinking of booking Queen Vic September 2025 for our 50th wedding anniversary. I've been with Viking and Morella before. Good idea or not? Love your blogs, guys. We're big Cunard fans.
Yeah,
we had a
Cunard.
fantastic Queen Vic and Queen Elizabeth are fantastic ships. Queen Mary is very different, but I think my favourite is Queen Elizabeth. Your thoughts?
I'm just thinking the only thing we obviously haven't done Viking, and I know that anybody talks about Viking. I know Holly, Bob and Holly fame. She's a big Viking fan, isn't she? I think that's one of her favourite ships is a Viking ship. So I couldn't say whether that would be better than Viking, but you can't go wrong with a Cunard ship, in my humble opinion.
No, we love them, so I'll be worth trying. So if you've got any other questions, please just pop them in the comments now. Otherwise, we can just go and see what Sally's saying. So it's saying wet cruised. We cruised for the first time ever in March with Ambassador and loved it. Granted, if you use 2 Cunard, you'll notice a difference, but they're great first time option and adult only. Bonus. Yes, that is a bonus if you don't want to travel with kids. I mean, we have no issue with family cruises at all. We've done plenty.
We definitely would try Ambassador, no qualms about it. But Dan's actually been looking at stuff for us. And what we want, we'd like to do maybe a 5 or maximum 7-day cruise. But everything that Dan looked at on our behalf, it was all like, oh, it's 11 days, it's 14 days. And it's all too long for something we've never tried. Because if you get on there and you think it's rubbish, 2 weeks is a long time to be on something if you don't like it.
And Ambassador go to Bristol, so for us that would be ideal, but there's just not an itinerary and dates that have worked for us yet.
But even the prices didn't seem that
no, they were quite expensive, aren't they? Do you agree, Dan, that they are?
They are. I think that they can, because they have one up on a lot of cruise lines. If you look at Ambassador, their competition is really obviously ships going out of Southampton, but with their regional, with Bristol and Tilbury, etc., they're competing with Fred Olsen. Fred Olsen prices are high, so Ambassador prices are going to be sort of slightly lower than Fred's, but that because they go from regional, that they feel like they can charge them. If you look at the Bristol sailings that we looked at for you, and it's
too much.
Yeah, and they're not great sailings either, to be honest.
No, but it would be good if we could have just a short cruise with it. I'd like, Paul said, a 5-day. So Holly's here too. So yes, Viking's my favourite, but I have to say on QE this past spring. I say yes, give them a try. Yeah, definitely. We're catching up with Bob and Holly soon, and we can't wait.
Very exciting.
Yes, so that's great. So I think that's it, isn't it? We've got through all the questions. I want to say thanks so much, Dan, for joining us. A font of knowledge as always, and a bloody nice bloke.
Yes, even though he's a bit of a potty mouth.
So thanks everyone for joining us. We're going to be back next Thursday for our regular lives. And like I say, if you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, then if you don't follow us on Instagram, Facebook,
why not?
Yes, particularly our next goal is on Instagram is to hit 10,000. So if you are on Instagram, just go over there, have a check that if you're following us or not, because we've got about 750 to go, haven't we?
It's such a slow.
It is
Instagram
slow.
It's painful. It's taken us about 73 years to get from 5,000 to 10,000.
It
wasn't even invented when we got on there, was it?
No. And again, if you want to sign up for our newsletter, then please do as well. Please do.
Yes.
Did you want to say anything, Dan?
No, just thank you for having me on again. It's always great to chat with people and try and help them a little bit. And hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Yes, brilliant. Right,
Fabulous.
thanks everyone for watching, and we will catch you all next week. Bye for now.
Bye bye.